Welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. Welcome again. I'm here with Vanessa Hogle and Paranormal Endeavors. Really looking forward to a great episode with them and their investigations of the supernatural. I've seen this team in action. They do some really interesting things. And plus they also, well, I know Jerrett's contacted me before about some esoteric horror in the past. So we're going to get into all that, but first, of course, I want to say hello to my co-host, Vanessa Hogle, and our chat Shananigator down there in the chat room, Shana. How's it going, Vanessa?
Aloha. It's going great.
You've been quite busy this past week. I know you've been handling a lot of different things after the Cropsy episode from last week.
Yes.
Yeah. How's all that going?
It's going really well, actually. I have a whole lot of footage to go over. On top of that, there's the narration for the documentary. I have to do that, which is going to be entertaining in and of itself, because we all know that I don't talk good, okay? I have an extensive vernacular, but I don't talk good. But that should be entertaining. Should be informative. We have actually, if I could take just 10 seconds here and tell y'all the thing that we had mentioned about when we were up there, about the fact that we were followed and photographed and railroaded and everything, we actually now have solid proof of that.
Very good. Very good.
Proof of that. 12 days after we got home, all of a sudden, this newfound interest in the missing children of Staten Island has come into play. New video taken by the people 36 years after the fact. So let's just say that, you know, nobody can stir the shit like Threefold Paranormal, and we hopped in there and did that. Right. And I had a speaking engagement, which was fantastic. And my new book's coming out, Mike, because you're my man. So
it is. September 26th is the date that we have set. We originally said September 30th, but you discovered that's a Saturday. Usually you try to do a book release on a Tuesday. So September 26th.
When you said September 26th, when we were talking in my live feed, I thought you meant for like a Paracon, and so I start jumping around and jiggling and everything, getting all excited, thinking it was Paracon, but I'm just as excited for the release of the book. Yep. So, hey.
We'll get one of those together. We talked about it, and I mean that takes a lot of preparation and time and work. So, so that's coming up down the road. So, real quick, of course, we always have to introduce Ghosty, our Haunted Road Media, Edge of the Rabbit Hole mascot. If you haven't gotten your Ghosty, get your Ghosty.
And your t-shirts.
Check this out. Courtney Maroc from Haunt Jaunts has, she just recently purchased one, and she's been doing a lot with her Skelly character. You know, kind of the same thing. She's setting up to have pictures taken with Skelly and all that, but she recently bought a Ghosty, so Ghosty and Skelly are going to get into some mischief together. We'll see what happens there. And then, of course, we have our Edge of the Rabbit Hole t-shirts. And what else do we have? Oh, the Patreon page uploaded the Q&A, the July Q&A to that. So if you are a Haunted Road Media patron, go check that out if you're at that tier. So that's been uploaded to the Q&A to the Patreon page. So I think that'll about do it. I don't have too many other things to announce at the moment. Oh, except the resurrection of my old newsletter. So go to MikeRicksecker.com, click on the newsletter, and that'll encompass both Haunted Road Media, kind of update you on the shows and everything that we have coming up, Edge of the Rabbit Hole stuff, as well as everything that's going on with writing and all that great stuff. So, without further ado, these guys have been waiting patiently. We have Paranormal Endeavors, which is Eric Kline, Jerrett, Osburn, and Jackie Means, as well as a few others, but these are the three that we have with us this evening. So how you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you? Good.
All right, doing pretty well. Thanks you guys for coming on. Just real briefly, kind of introduce yourselves and let everybody know who Paranormal Endeavors are.
All right, well, my name is Eric. I'm actually the team lead, creator of Paranormal Endeavors. We started this giant mission back in 2010. I had a few other teams that I was part of back before that, and it just would take us to a point, and then I felt like I needed to continue and go on, and then I started my own, and we've been doing it ever since. So we do the spiritual and the scientific part of investigations. We feel it's important to incorporate both, and we do it in an order too, where it's the scientific first and then the spiritual, and we do it that way for a reason, and that reason is because we want to make sure that we're not going in there just throwing things out for what we're getting and then not have something to back it up later on, you know. So we want to make sure we have the equipment and stuff going at all times, and then we gather our information throughout those periods, and then we'll do the spiritual at the end of the night, and then that way it kind of is more amazing that way too. Activity tends to spike more during the spiritual, because we're kind of hitting the nail on the head, so to speak, with the things that we've gathered throughout the night. So that's a little bit, kind of a snapshot. It's quite a bit about us, but that's a little bit about us. And then this is Jackie,
hey.
Senior Field Researcher. Tell a little bit about you.
So my name's Jackie. Again, I'm a Senior Field Researcher. I've been with Paranormal Endeavors since 2010. Basically, with going off what Eric said, with the whole paranormal and the spiritual versus the scientific aspect of it. Personally, I like to go into each case somewhat, not necessarily blind if you say, but I like to go into it kind of to experience like my own personal gifts and stuff too, to kind of strengthen those as well. So with Paranormal Endeavors, we do not charge for going out to do investigations. We are strictly just there to help the client out, essentially. So what we would do is we would go in and we can get emails from different clients. We do have a website as well, and Facebook pages, etc. So we can get emails, messages, stuff like that from our clients as well. Yeah, we work with a wide variety of religious beliefs too. So maybe something that doesn't work for one client is going to work for another client. So we definitely keep ourselves very broad and open-minded. So it's basically more into endeavors.
Yeah, we try and approach things from an ominous point of view.
Okay.
We just lose you, Hud?
Do what?
I thought we just lost you there for a second.
It's just kind of like real. Jerrett, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
My name is Jerrett Osburn. I'm a elder sage, or also known as a pagan priest. I've been in the paranormal off and on since I was 12 years old. Recently joined the team a year ago. They found me and interviewed me on a location that they were getting ready to investigate, and a couple months later gave me a call and asked me to join the team, and I've been with them a year now. Shortly after that, that's when I first met you, Mike, out there at Silcon.
Yeah, Silcon. I remember you saying you had just recently joined the team, and we interviewed you guys, talked a little bit about some paranormal experiences, so we got a little interview footage of you guys on our Silcon video. So, and I got to thank Shana for that idea. That was a great idea on her part to do that. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It got us all talking, and then a couple of weeks later, you just mysteriously show up at Farrar.
Yeah, that was great. So I got a chance to investigate with you guys and see you in action, which was really, really cool. So.
And since the last time I've seen you, I've had an interesting development in which I was asked to join the Dominion Ministries.
I saw that on your Facebook. What's the Dominion Ministries?
All the ladies and guys on that team there that have brought me in under their wing, and learning from them, and they're learning from me, and it's been a unique experience.
Very cool. Shauna's asking real quick, are you guys going to Silcon this year?
We're planning on it.
Okay. We are going to be there.
Silcon. We just came back from Mid-South.
Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you again, Keith Age, and anyone who knows him as well. He's a good colleague and friend of ours. It was nice to go there, because people might not know this. That was the first big paranormal conference that I ever went to back in 2008. It was Mid-South Paranormal Conference 2008. So it's always nice to kind of return to your roots, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Never been to one.
You got it. You got it. You got to go to a few of these and meet the people. That's half the fun there. I haven't had TV, so I don't know a lot of these people.
Same. I know Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah, and so I'm completely clueless talking to them, and it's been rather unique when I get, I shake people's hands or I touch them, and I go into a reading. And Eric knows their stories, and he's just kind of smiling behind me. So it's been kind of fun meeting some of these people and not knowing who they are and getting some validation on the stuff that I pick up.
Yeah, that kind of makes it more pure, don't you think? Because you don't go into meeting these people with any preconceptions, because you have no idea who they are.
Right, right. So, yeah, so it's been kind of a unique experience there, even with all the experience and stuff that I have behind me. The validations that are going on just in the last year have really upped my confidence. I always knew that it was there, but to actually have the validations, it's a whole nother layer of reality. So,
yeah, and I plan to educate you more on Zappis when we're done here, so you know a little bit more about John Zappis as well when we're done.
There you go. Yeah, John's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
Another example.
No clue. But yeah.
All right, very cool. Something I wanted to ask you guys about. You know, we'll dive down the rabbit hole here a little bit. Two specific things. I mean, I investigated with you guys at Farrar, and something I was always curious about. Eric, you did I believe you called it the human divining rod. So, what exactly is that, and what were you trying to accomplish with that? Because I was up in the auditorium, and I don't think very many people are familiar with this.
Yeah, the human dowsing rod. I kind of stumbled across it when right before I launched Paranormal Endeavors, but it was because I believed that because you know the divining rods or the dowsing rods as they are, you know, in their normal sense of what people think of them. So they can detect energies and move around, and you can use them in yes and no sessions, use them for EVP sessions, etc. Well, I can get into a meditative state. What I discovered is it's like, geez, there's something pulling on my arm. And I've seen this stuff with pendulums. I've seen it with the dowsing rods. So I was like, well, why not? So I just continued to kind of explore this. And lo and behold, one of my earlier ones I did was at Farrar. And there's two pictures taken, and one was a normal photo, and then the one right after it in succession showed this shadow mass moving over my head as I'm doing it. In more than one place we've gotten results to where it's like you're seeing things around my head and stuff as I'm doing this, because it's more or less the arms are up in the air, my mind is clear and clean from whatever else and thoughts I try to get rid of that are mine. So I can also, if I see images or things during this, I might say them, but my eyes are usually closed when I do it. It's a little easier for me. So I tell my researchers that are around me if there's something happening. You know, we sometimes kid around. I'll say, you know, if you see Jackie levitating towards me, say something. You know, so we'll do that, and then they'll start to move around in different directions. And usually those folks too that are in the area where the arms are going towards might feel this energy kind of moving around, as it could circle me or it could come forward and bring a message across. And I'll say something. I might say that message, and then the K2 meter or something else will go off to validate it. It's kind of a unique way to use your gifts, I guess. And I try to do it in a safe way to where I set the boundaries to it, of course. Any form of channeling or anything, you need to set your boundaries or just don't do it at all. And so I'll do that, and we've had several experiences off of that, and it's throughout our series as well. I think it's probably the first place that people have seen it ever, because I don't think I've ever seen anyone else do it, anything quite like that, either, myself. And didn't you, Mike, was there you, I can't remember, or was it Adam, that had footage and it seemed like it was getting darker, or something?
Yep, I have footage of that. It's on the Paranormal Roads Farrar Schoolhouse video, which I and I put that out sometime last fall, so you can find that on the Haunted Road Media channel. Yeah, and it was like consistently growing darker as you continued to do the dowsing rod. So yeah, it was really, really interesting. I had my camera transfixed on you because I was like, whoa, this is different. So, but yeah, it can consistently got darker.
Eric, is that correct? Yeah. Okay, I have a question concerning that. Twofold, really. Okay, for one, the channeling. Okay, you're right. Yes, you should set boundaries. We all know I don't, and I just let them do what they will. And I'm a bad girl, okay? So, I mean, I get that. But I'm learning. But when you talk about the photography, the mass, the only other time I've ever seen something like that was when I had an aura photo taken of me, one shielded, one not. And the shield actually shows up on the aura photo, 100%. You can see me in a box. And then the other one, I am completely covered by my aura. And both of these were done with Kirlian photography 5 minutes apart. Is it that same type of situation where you're projecting out your energy and kind of picking up on things almost like a catcher's mitt, and you're able to draw it to you and to actually take and have the photography taken of you and it show up in it? Or how would you describe that exactly? How are you pulling it to you, or are you just pointing it out? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think with that, I think in a way I'm pulling it out. It seems like it's attracted, and I think of that for our instance when I'm doing that, because it just felt like, best way to explain it would be kind of like hyenas, but all of that. It just, like they're coming out more, they're curious, or like, you know, my aura is probably like emitting this bright light during it attracts them.
It becomes a magnet that funnels it in. This is what I've noticed with him as well. With that picture that he was talking about, it literally is a dark mass that comes into a triangle funnel that's coming through his arms. And so it's literally being magnetized and drawn into it like a compass or a giant electromagnet, just drawing it in to get all the feelings, get the message, just like what the rods do, but with his body. It's a unique thing to actually witness and then to experience as well from a sensitive point of view. Those of us around him that have gifts, and not just from us on teams, but even strangers when we go to this event, will feel that energy rise and channel to him. And they literally sit back and just start talking about it, going, oh wow, I could feel it, and I could feel it move to you like a current.
Yeah, and I had that, what was it, Rosie?
Yeah, Rosie.
I was doing that, and she had pulled me aside afterwards, and she saw the visions I was. She, I guess, dialed into my frequency, so to speak, worded that way, and kind of went on that ride with me. And the things I was seeing during that vision, she was validating, she was telling me about it. It was kind of like what you did on Private Case that we did, because I'd seen this old brick building. It was abandoned, and it looked like I call it murder-suicide building. And she was, while I was kind of in that with my vision, she was like, if you see a brick building, don't go in it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I remember that. I'm like, wait a minute, are you jumping on my frequency here, seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Is there any specific energy that you're drawing from yourself and projecting out there knowingly that allows you to do this? Or is it just that you open up?
I just open up, and I try to give myself a very warming energy aura, in hopes that those, especially the positive ones more so, but that those that need help or might not come to us when we're more in a full conscious, are you there, can you give us a sign kind of mentality, and they come forward to us when we're more of a relaxed, laid back, kind of like all visions are in meditation as well. It's like, where's this stuff coming from? You know, and it's just, I think I just open up enough that it just, like he says, kind of a magnet will attract them. It's no different than when we do our spiritual side of our investigations. We'll actually get, and it's kind of a struggle being sensitives or psychics, clairvoyants, clairaudiences, whatever you are, because others see that as an opportunity, and you're trying to work with the spirit or energy that's in the location, but then you might get sightseers or somebody who's walking by in spirit, of course, and they're like, ooh, there's an opportunity, and they ride that bus, you know.
Okay, I added a photo here just quickly. I just went into the. I was hoping to have all this ready before the show, but I just got caught up in some things. But while you guys are talking, I caught a screen cap of Eric doing the human dowsing rod. This is just, you know, one frame from, I mean, you're probably going on for about 15 minutes, so kind of give people an idea of how you were set up. You know, just laying on your back on the floor, and you had your arms up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the human dowsing rod, not the demon dowsing rod. That's something totally different.
Yeah, human dowsing rod, right.
Yeah, I heard the D word, I was like, what?
Did I say D? Did I really? I didn't.
And the question that came up in there, yes, we use an SP7 for Spirit Box. I have a new piece of IT equipment that I am currently using as well that it uses sounds like water. And this last case that we were on, that we really can't go into detail on it yet because we're still going through evidence, but it was pretty amazing this weekend, where it uses 4 different banks of watering, murmuring sounds, and
yeah, I have to say, using water is fantastic.
Words and music that came across on it, and there is no music to it. There's no transistor. There's no using the internet. Nothing. And yet music was coming across on it.
Right.
Yeah, we just posted a video the other day at Mineral Springs in Alton, Illinois. You guys need to get out to there. And and the EVPs that we were getting off of a fountain. You know, there's a fountain running in the back room, and it, you know, you're getting between those little murmurs of the water. You're catching clear words, full sentences. It was really amazing. People just haven't really known you can use water to be able to, you know, listen, you know, do your audio instead of, you know, something like a straight up, you know, people use SP7 or, you know, just using your like a ghost box or what have you. You can use water for that.
Well, we've talked about water being a serious conductor on quite a few shows. When I was in England and we were dealing with certain areas there, any place that had a larger body of water, or there had been, and this is the weird part, a history of flooding. Just a history. Not even that it was still flooding, but that had a history of it, like in Sheffield, England. You have those occurrences where you have a considerable amount of energy still coming through because they traveled along those lines. And it's something that we experienced in Staten Island as well with the stream. So it's all those different avenues that you can use to actually get as much communication and interaction as you can. That I think people aren't exploring those strange things, the weird ways of doing this, the human divining rod, the water. You know, they're not exploring that, and I really wish they could.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm Aquarius, so I'm drawn to it.
There you go.
Pisces, buddy, I'm right there with you. Water, baby.
Yeah. And we did, speaking of water, it's kind of interesting you said that, because we do the Spirit Interceptor genre of things too, which, Mike, you might have seen the little ROV, remote control vehicle that we had. Basically, we had a water version of it. We tested it. It's in Chapter 2, but we went out and we had a bunch of equipment in this bulky case thing, basically. Put it in the Des Moines River, because around here it seems like everybody and their grandma drowns in the Des Moines River. I don't know why. It just attracts. But, so we went there and lowered it down. It was a few yards under the surface. And basically, because our radios wouldn't work, it's standard two-way radios, water interferes with that, so we had to cut that out. But what we did is a pre-recording of questions, and we space it out, and we put it right next to another audio recorder that was recording. And we put them under there, and we had EMF meters and other stuff in there. Nothing triggered the other stuff, but it did sound like, to the question, did ground, said yes. It sounded like, and the thing. So I believe, you know, that's going to that point, water is not just, it doesn't limit you. I mean, I think Spirit's just like we did at Farrar, we did the airborne version. We sent blood stuff up in the air. I think that you can get stuff practically anywhere, not just at ground level. So.
Well, and that goes in the theory that they do not operate off of laws of physics after they pass. Corporeal form does not operate off of going through a ground floor. They can go through the 3rd floor. And that's where sealing and cleansing houses, it's very important to go through each layer and create it. Create that seal, because they don't respond to gravity. They don't have these limitations. And we've had enough evidence that supports these theories. So.
They don't have a meat sack.
They're not bound by the constraints of the body. Right.
Yeah.
Well, the meat sack's what's keeping you from going through solid matter. So 2 pieces of matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Energy, however, can move in and out within the molecules and within the space, especially when you start getting into Tesla and Da Vinci and some of those things that are going on. Start understanding sacred geometry and Tesla's idea and Da Vinci's idea of how time is not linear, it is stacked. So it's all happening at the same time.
I've seen videos on that.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, continue.
So with that idea, one thing that has come across as well is using Da Vinci's ideas and Tesla backing it up, sometimes we have interactions that seems like an intelligent haunting, but we as sensitives aren't picking up a spirit. Right. Well, Da Vinci has the idea that since time is stacked, somebody that is living in the past or the future can be having a conversation with you at the same time you're talking to them, and you both think you're having a paranormal experience talking to ghosts, but you're both living.
Yeah, because you're both there in the same spot, but you're just at different times when you're all there. Yeah.
But yeah.
I know this is going to sound really weird, but for me, not mind blown at all. For me, it's more like, so much sense, because, I mean, I see dead folk all the time. You know, I mean, they come and sit down on my couch, they're in my head, whatever. I mean, I'm never alone, you know. I mean, even in the shower, I'm never alone, and I hate that shit. But when I can't see them or tangibly feel their energy, but the voice is there nonetheless.
Right. And you're like, why?
You know, I mean, you almost want to go, you know, you've got it. That makes sense.
Absolutely. And I've noticed in the room, just out of the paranormal, people making comments about my nails.
We're going to go to the nails.
I've been painting my nails since I was, 10 years old, Mom, if not earlier. I was goth before goth was even a term. We made our own clothing. We created our own style. There was no stores to shop in. I just did my own thing. And it's just something I've always done. I have extremely long nails. I like it that way. If I don't paint them, they break and chip. So I protect them. I don't really like many other colors except black, so I go with the black nails.
Glittery pink?
Well, no, I did go with the vampire blood red for a while, and everybody thought it was black, but you get in the light and they go, oh, it is red. So, yeah.
I barely paint mine, so we cancel each other out.
There you go.
There you go. Nice.
Oh, okay.
And of course, I do mine for special occasions, usually, not just all the time, but usually then I'll stop thinking, people think I'm Chris Angel or I'm in a rock band or something.
Right.
I have a little...
If I don't makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he gets the guy liner. Yeah, he gets the guy liner going. I have a hard time wearing the guy liner anymore because my eyes water from mild PBA, so I hate having the running teary and everybody think I'm all moping.
Then it goes from Chris Angel to Alice Cooper. It goes from Chris Angel to Alice Cooper.
There you go.
Sorry, I had to.
Alright, so I hope that answers the nail question for everybody in the chat. No, I mean,
we want to make sure that they don't feel like they're being ignored, but yeah.
Fashion is part of what we do. We were talking a few weeks back with Amelia Cotter about you know, the types of shirts to wear during investigations. And sometimes for women, if they're wearing the wrong type of shirt, you can see through to their bra during, you know, like night vision shots. So, you know, your clothing is actually something that can be important here. So, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it when the tatas are showing, man. It's just great on the investigation.
I'm just going to go ahead and put the kibosh on that right now. It's not good. When tatas are showing, it doesn't make for a good investigation.
No,
well, sometimes it gets the spirits interacting. You never know what they're going to like. I've been investigating in a kilt for a little while now, and we've gotten a little bit of interaction off of that. So.
Oh my goodness.
Now that's interesting.
We're just going to jump right over that.
Hey, Vanessa, that's just going down the rabbit hole.
True story. True story. Now, Mike, you had mentioned something before we got them on the show about other techniques that they were using. Not so much the divining rod of you, Eric. And I know that you said you do scientific and spiritual. I'm interested in both, but what I would really like to focus on for just a moment is the spiritual side of it, and because that's my genre. That's what I deal with.
That's going down the rabbit hole.
And we're jumping down both feet. I would like to know if you pull from previous experiences for all three of you. Is it previous experiences? Is it religious beliefs that pertain to each one of you? Is it ancestral? What is it that you pull from to do this in the way that you do it?
You maybe tell as much.
Yeah, you do first, because you're a little different.
Yeah, I am a witch, so for me, I believe, right. I believe in more than one god and goddess. So when I go into an investigation, and everybody else on the team also believes it too, you want to do a lot of grounding, a lot of, if you need to beforehand, meditate. You want to go into it very clear-minded, very positive. So for me, when I go into it, I put belief into my own self as well, because you have to have that. That's really key into what we do. But I put faith into my own self as well as my gods and goddesses. So if I'm feeling stressed out, if I'm feeling weak on a certain investigation, if I'm just needing that extra pick-me-up, then I will ask for their assistance. Aromatherapy works really well too. And stones and everything else. My stone of choice is an amethyst. So, and lovely stone selection back here. So,
yeah. Honey, I took a whole bag over to Staten Island. You should have seen TSA. They were real sweet about it. What was the question I was going to say? Do you have a particular ritual that you do, since you and I are of the same belief system? Do you avoid certain things when you're on an investigation, or are they your go-to investigation?
I know for me personally, there have been times that I've had premonitions about investigations, and one in particular definitely made me a little bit more nervous. So for that one, it was definitely more that extra boost of grounding, and I like meditation, so I'm always going to go to meditation. I need to do a little bit more than what I do now, but for that one, it's definitely, I try to pay attention to energies around me, coming from both spiritual and the people you're working with and your clients, because I think that makes a big difference. So if I feel like something's up, that's been part of our team motto is, if something's going on, something's wrong, you talk to higher up, or you talk to somebody that you're with and you let them know. We'll go outside, we'll do a group kind of cleansing, if you will, if we need it. But we also, like I said before, we work with each other's kind of religious aspects, religious beliefs. But yeah, for me, so I guess to shorten my answer, it's to look into my gods and myself. and making sure that I'm centered. Yeah.
And there's a side note to that, too, with that, and I think this goes for all of us, is these are kind of our own personal things for what works for us. So as a team official standpoint, we won't go into a place and force upon these beliefs onto a client.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll keep, you know, things that more generic across the board. Like, so a positive thing, you have a negative. The yin, you have the yang. You have, you know, things like that. It's more universal. And we haven't had any pushback or any disputes in a religious side of things with clients. So.
And then we've had some that have literally asked for my type of services that I offer. And that was rather odd because they were completely Catholic and they were still wanting a brouhaha.
Oh, no, that's interesting.
But if you go back in history, if you look at it from a purely theological standpoint, Catholicism and voodoo, which is extremely similar to witchcraft, they go hand in hand, from your candle work to your smudging to everything else. So I have found in my travels,
tell my mother that.
those Catholicism don't seem to have a very big problem with what I do.
Right, exactly.
They're more the would you take care of that for me kind of people, and but they don't badmouth it.
Exactly.
Because it's hand in hand. I have dealt with other issues with other faiths, but you know that's on them, not on me. So I'm not actually surprised that you don't have an issue with that. Not one bit.
Now myself, I've been studying religion since I was 9-10 years old. Heavy since I was 12. I had a full ride scholarship to be a Christian minister. I chose not to be. As I was learning stuff, I realized it wasn't my path. Years and years and years later, in fact, it was just little over 2 years ago, I got saged in Wicca, and I became a pagan priest. But I consider myself an omnist. All these different faiths that I've learned from, whether it be Baha'i, whether it be Christian, whether it be Tao, Buddha, Zen, whether it be Muslim, the Islamic faiths, whether it be witchcraft, whether it be, they all went hand in hand, and depending on the case that I come across, in some of my private cases that I deal with, that are a little more serious and a little more heavy, it's what's going to work, because not one path is the always working way. Sometimes you have to change it up and find something that it does respect, because there's some religions that some of these heavier ancient stuff just don't respect, and it doesn't matter what you do. Some of my stuff, and to ask you where it comes from, I believe mine is bloodline. I've got a unique family history, and I'm also one of the few practicing necromancers. That's a name that we're trying to come back and bring back, because necromancy got kind of a bad rap there for a while back in the 1600s.
Well, describe what you mean by necromancy, as far as what it's supposed to be.
What necromancer is, in the basic terms, is communing and commanding with the dead. We're able to talk with them, confer with them, counsel with them, and they must follow our orders. And it's not to do bad. If we're doing bad, it's going to blow up on you.
Okay.
It is basically when you have a spirit that doesn't obey certain religious aspects, there are laws in the spirit realm. And a necromancer is in tune with those. We literally exist between the living and the dead. We're in this in-between realm. So when we are at a position of saying, all right, this is who I am, recognize me and obey, the cleansings tend to go through faster.
Interesting. Okay. Just to let the Mad Hatters out there in the chat room know, my chat locked up for a while, so if you had a question out there, I probably missed it. I did catch the tell Jerrett hey from Iowa per Beyond the Light Network, but anything before that I would have missed it. So
I would like to address something real quick, Mike, because my chat didn't freeze up. Two things I would like to address to Super Woody Boy. One, he put down here, Vanessa, do you consider yourself a good witch or a bad witch? Black witch or white witch? Because he believes that there is a difference. Well, Super Woody Boy, I'm sure that others consider themselves white or black, positive or negative, good or bad. I, however, do not, because I know nature is not. I am both good and I am bad. I am sweet as an angel and mean as a snake. It just depends on what needs to come from me at the time. I accept my karma in whatever way that I put my feelings and my thoughts and my spells out there, and I realize that whatever I put out, I'm going to get back to myself. So yes, I'm both. No doubt about it, no shame in it. As far as giving the thumbs up, when he said that he wasn't going to be a Christian minister, and you're a Christian, if that offended you, I mean, I can't help that. I have been ridiculed, persecuted, slandered, been made to feel really bad about myself when I was younger, about not being a Christian and doing what I do. So is my belief system, is my belief in the Christian faith, not so much. But it should not, my opinion should not affect how you feel about yourself.
Exactly, and we work with archbishops and different, higher ups in different religions. I have rabbis in the Jewish faith that I'm good friends with, archbishops and Catholic priests, high ups in the Presbyterian and the Methodist and the Episcopalians. I've got friends of all faiths, including atheists and agnostics, Norse, Vikings, so it doesn't matter where it was at. It was just, for me, it did not work for my path.
And we see that in our cleansing techniques. Yeah, and we see that in our cleansing techniques too. It's not always, because we've been more than one case. We'll be called in and they've had a certain type of religious process done, and they still have the activity going on.
Right.
So we try something different. Like, I'm also a Reiki healer. I work with Reiki and stuff. So for us, we think, because I touch up a little bit on Native American stuff as well. We'll use like smudging and the traditional stuff like that. But then there's other times where I feel that we need to use a Reiki technique instead. Because basically when you think about it, you're trying to, if you do the smudging, the old school smudging technique, you're getting rid of what's unwanted, but then that space open up? Questionable? Question mark.
Good question.
So you go through, and then I do reinforcement with Reiki to enforce the positive, the healing, and the good to be filling in that space where that void opened up. So basically, it's like, a pimple or a blackhead. You want it removed. You don't want other gunk to fill in it, so you put it in and seal it. Like those little pores.
I think that's the first time I've ever talked pimples on the rabbit hole, but we just went right down that.
I just want to make sure it's understood. My thumbs up to him is not to say that the Christian faith isn't good. I have friends of all faith. My thumbs up to him is to do something extremely brave in a time when we are still persecuted, and that is choosing your path.
Yep.
Well, you have to remember.
Everybody agrees with it.
You have to remember, when I did this was back in the 80s. Okay, the late 80s, back when we had the huge Satanist problem, where everybody was all thinking there was all these cults going around and all this past regressions from psychiatrists that were using hypnosis and then telling people that they were abducted into the cult and things. So when I chose that path, it was not welcomed by a lot of people.
I bet. Hey, we have a question from the chat room. From Andrew Cox. So I'm going off a little bit from that topic, but says, has anything dark or demonic followed any one of them home before?
Well, that's what my specialty is, violent hauntings.
Okay.
That's something that I get called in on. So stuff happens at my place. Plus, I have a vault. It's not a safe. I call it a vault because it is a room that is sealed off. And this is a place where people give me items and artifacts that are extremely haunted. So my house tends to have activity, and I have to re-bless them, reseal it, and go through it from time to time. Just off this last case we did, I got home and my pipes exploded on my sink. And this weird thing about it was the place had plumbing issues that they were dealing with. And I come home and my pipes are ripped out from underneath my sink, and there's cobwebs all over them. How are the cobwebs intact and the pipe ripped from the sink? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So, you know, stuff does happen. It never lasts long. My place is very, very sealed, and I live with 4 spirits that protect the house, and they will run stuff off. So they're pretty good about that. But they do like to do their own little tricks too.
So these are human spirits that actually stay at your house, and they protect you from some of the more malevolent spirits that are out there?
Yeah, I have 2 children and an old lady and an old man that live there. I've identified the old couple. I have not been able to identify the young kids yet.
Okay. Jerrett, I had a question for you specifically that you had contacted me a while ago. You guys were working on a case, and you had asked me to look up some information on La Ciana. And I think I pretty much came across the same information as you did, so I didn't really have a whole lot to contribute to that. But I thought it would be a good example of the type of cases that you guys work on, and how you know, they're kind of a little bit more supernatural in nature rather than just your, you know, basic human spirits. So you want to dive into that a little bit?
Sure, we went into it, and this was a case where you mysteriously could not show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kelly mysteriously could not show up.
Mm-hmm.
We had different members of the team that just, for some reason, cars were breaking down or something would happen that they could not show up on the investigation. We went into it thinking it was just a normal investigation, that it would just be a normal night. The client really didn't fill us in on too much about what was actually happening. So when stuff started going the way it did, we were a little shocked, but our experience panned out for us and paid off. Within 15 minutes of being in the house, the attacks started. We were still in the walkthrough of the client letting us know these are the places that we go through. And we're getting hit with physical pains in our ribs to where it's actually buckling us over. In 25 minutes, Mary had to go outside, and when she went outside, she basically collapsed next to the truck. And Eric had to do a healing on her, get her grounded and resituated. Then I did a blessing on her, but I forgot to bless myself.
Oops.
Mistake number 1.
Oops.
So 40 minutes into the investigation, 15 minutes after this all happens, I go into the bathroom to go pee, and I'm puking black mass.
Oh.
It's just black. It just looked like black blood, coffee grounds, and I'm just hurling it all over. And I come out, and I look like dog shit. I'm beet red, sweating like crazy, and I just look like I ran a mile. And the evidence that was coming through, this thing was speaking Portuguese, Spanish, Latin, and American. Okay? And English. Well, I say American.
You said American. American English. There you go. It wasn't UK English. It was American English. So there you go.
American English. It wasn't the proper British, proper English. No, this was American, and some of it was slang and stuff like that, where it's just really odd. Eric had his shields up pretty good. I always tell him he was born.
This was to go into her question that I didn't answer yet. Yeah. This is a nice segue into it, but go ahead.
He is born with this natural shielding that he doesn't have to even concentrate on. And that protected him that night. But it was still working on it. With as much experience as I have, I was heavily brutally attacked that evening. I admit I opened myself up to be the target because I wanted it off the team, because Mary was getting hit hard, Eric was getting hit. Raffy, our camera guy, is not even sensitive. He doesn't have abilities, and he was getting things. He was seeing this thing, he was feeling it, he was going through this stuff. So I was like, all right, if you're going to pick on somebody, I'm already damaged. Mike knows I'm on a cane. I'm already hurt. It's no big deal. You can't hurt me anymore. Before that night was out, and we went through I cleansed and binded this thing. We hit good cop, bad cop on this from multiple different angles. And I walked out of that house that night with 2 cracked ribs, 6 bruised. My shoulders, both my shoulders got displaced, both my hips got displaced, my spine got twisted, my neck got twisted, and I passed blood in my urine and my stool for the next 3 days. So the physical damage that can happen with these heavier demonic cases is very real. It's no joke, and it's not something for the thrill seeker to go out and find.
Yeah.
This is a case that will be a crew stopper on some people will just quit investigating. So,
yeah, that was really hardcore there.
In Virginia almost made me stop. And I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's what, I mean, I'm always telling people, well, this isn't for the faint heart. This isn't Ghost Adventures. This isn't Ghost Hunters. This isn't any of those damn shows on TV. This is real, and it hurts. You know, my spirit animal actually showed up in physical form at one of the investigations I was at and showed itself to 16 other people.
Right on.
Because I was in that much danger. You know, so I mean, I know what you mean, and it sucks ass.
Oh yeah. And part of what I go through, I recently did a history search on an event that happened here in Iowa. It was a very famous Iowa exorcism. The priest involved, and Mike, you want to look this up since you're an author and you're into this stuff.
All right, I'll
look
jot
up
it down
Theophilus. His name is Theophilus Ricksecker.
That
And you're
sounds
going to
slightly
notice
familiar,
something
actually.
really, really odd. He is my doppelganger from 100 years ago.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. We're spitting images of each other. So it's like it's in my life. It's in my past lives. It's just been something that I've done, and I've done again, and I've done again, and I've done again, and I've done again. The Alcyona, I had to use Book of the Dead. I had to use the Egyptian Book of the Dead in order to fight this thing.
Yeah, the Alcyona.
So, you know, it was multiple past lives in order to deal with some of the spiritual attacks.
And I think
So
that's
how did you
something
determine it was Laciona, which is, if I recall correctly, Brazilian demon that preys on unfaithful men?
Venezuelan.
Venezuelan, okay.
Yep. Yeah, she was known as the
South
Wailing
American, there we
Woman.
go. I got it.
This is something that has been depicted in Cambodia, Thailand, Venezuela, Spain, Mexico, Russia, multiple continents, multiple areas. There's not just one of them. There are multiple of them. There's like a pack, a hive.
To paint a better picture for those that are maybe more like pop culture, in the movies, they focus on the Asian version of it over there. So, like The Grudge, The Ring, those kinds of things with the long, dark hair, pale girl or woman. And that's what she is. She's just a Venezuelan version.
And how she murdered people in order to get cursed, she hacked at their ribs and at their heart with a machete. Now, what was I saying about 15 minutes of being in that house? We were all feeling the pain in our ribs, and I had 6 damaged ribs.
Wow.
So
This is the one that makes men keep the willy in their pants?
well, she was,
Yeah.
It was an affair, and she goes after because it makes them, especially because she was happened to her, and she believed that
her mother.
Yeah, her mother had the affair with him, and her husband actually was not doing that, but the enraged in her mind was clouded with the idea that it was happening, it already was happening in her mind, so she still killed both of them.
And the mom cursed her upon the death. As her mom was dying, she was like, I didn't do this, you will be forever cursed. And that's what created her. And there are multiple stories of this happening, so there are multiple Sayonas out there. There are multiple from different walks of life. It's human nature. And it just creates this entity that, it's a nasty little booger. It really is.
So, would it be like a manifestation of this type of negative energy from these type of events? And it's taking its form?
It actually cursed her physical form into a lesser demonic.
Okay.
It changed her from human to demon.
Interesting.
Okay.
I don't know. That's really. This is the point where I got nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
well, we completely changed topics. We have a few minutes left, but there was a question way back in the chat a while ago. Just totally switch it up. And that was from Shana, and she's asked, do they find that, or actually she posted to me from X Group Home Kit. She was just letting me know who sent it. So X Group Home Kid's question, do they find that certain plants absorb or transmit types of energy?
Come again on that?
Do they find that, or you guys, do you find that certain plants absorb or transmit types of energy?
Yes. Yes.
This is her specialty. She's an Italian witch.
Yeah.
Hers is nature based. So yeah.
Thank you. I think yes, especially with what you're using them for. It's like putting, so you look at the universe, if you're putting that good energy out there, you're going to get that good back. If you're putting negative out there, you're going to get negative back. So when it comes with plants, it's very much an energy-based object as well. So if you're going to feed it like your good intentions, bad intentions, and that's what it's going to produce.
it's very similar to having a house plant. If you play music or sing to your house plant, it grows better, it grows fuller, and it lives longer. But if you don't, and you disregard it and act like it's a piece of furniture, it tends to wither and slowly die.
Right.
And it's all about your intent. You know, they'll grow different ways with different types of music.
Right.
Aloe vera will do that, thyme will do that, basil will do that, regular pothos will do that. They all will grow differently based on the type of music that you play. Classical is one of the best ones.
Yep, and I use different plants in cleansing. Because I have found, and I'm not the only one, but this is my personal experience, a lot of other people have backed this up as well. The people that stick to just sage cleansings, and then they complain that it doesn't work, and they got to do it again, 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 and it just doesn't seem to be working, and a lot of times it gets worse. The sage pisses them off. A lot of times it doesn't work for cleansing. My spirit bag, I did a live video, and I think Mike had seen it as well. I have over 300 herbs, resin, and oils that I use in combinations to create a proper cleansing. Because each one will react to different things, whether it be a negative energy, whether it be a spirit, whether it be a residual, whether it be demonic, whether it be personal, whether it be, you know, all these different things. All these different herbs have different meanings and different uses. And that's where some of my cleansings will do a little more than just a sage stick will. I have one that I call the atomic bomb cleansing. I'll tell you what, if you are a sensitive, it will affect you too.
Oh, really?
You can feel it as it comes into it. It messes with the energies in the room. I can raise the negative, and then I can drop it like a weight and like a mouse trap on them. And so they come in and feed like a deer stand on this negative energy that I'm raising using this herb. And then as they're feeding, I drop it and take it away from them, and they're trapped in the protection circle.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but if you look back at history on hoodoo and voodoo, especially when they came to the States and what they were having to work with, one of the main things that they would use in their spiritual work was tobacco.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't realize that. Something as simple, if you're in a drastic situation, I bet I froze, didn't I? If you're in a drastic situation and you don't have sage on, but you can go down to the 7-Eleven, pack of Marlboros, you know, I mean, you can break those bad boys up and use them.
Well, Vanessa, speaking of hoodoo, Carrie Parrish is offering us goofer dust in the chat, just to let you know.
I have goofer dust. I have devil's pot, bat's head pot. I have it. Like I said, I've got voodoo and hoodoo friends in my family. I know Queenie in New York. She's the Haitian voodoo priestess. Phenomenal lady. I've known her since I was 20 years old. But if you're going to go with tobacco, buy American Spirits, not Marlboro.
Yes, because they don't have the chemicals. Absolutely. So in a pinch, if you don't have sage or access to sage or lemongrass or anything else you might want to add to that, lavender or rosemary, you can do the tobacco. And it's your intent behind it that allows the properties to work. You have to believe it's going to work.
Right.
That's where a lot of people mess up.
We are about at our hour. I want to toss out one more quick question from back in the chat, and then we'll wrap it up. So Super Woody Boy asks, he sees some rosaries hanging on the wall in the back, and he was wondering how you guys use those in your work.
Yeah. Well, those are Eric's rosaries.
Okay.
The one that I'm wearing is a unique one. This one actually comes from the Bone Church in Czechoslovakia. The skulls are carved out of monk's teeth.
Yeah.
The dental assistant in me is completely enamored with that.
But it goes back into it, where he's more Christian Reiki, you know, the white light based spiritual basis.
Yeah. I was raised Methodist, but just for what I've done, I've been in this field for many, many, many years. One size fits all just doesn't exist.
Right.
So that's why our team, has expanded on different things. So just by seeing these back here doesn't always mean necessarily that one of us is diehard Roman Catholic or something. It's a protective item, and there's some that might actually use for the prayer, for protecting themselves. I've yet to bring any of these in to repel a negative energy. Right. They kind of stay here when we go on like some of those, or just in our pocket if it's it's protection for thyself.
Right. Yeah, and that one you just got from Bishop Long, so
right, and blessed. Yeah.
Blessed by an archbishop.
Right.
So.
But that brings along a very interesting point, and something that Mike and I have stated on this show numerous times, is that people have been living and dying and coming back long before the written word of man.
Oh yeah.
So it almost sometimes the religious artifacts, even the Bible, even things like that, when you're dealing with something that is so much older, it's irrelevant.
It's what's right here,
right?
Because I have seen time and time again that somebody put all their faith into an artifact or a prayer book, and that artifact gets destroyed in front of their eyes, or that prayer book starts smoking for no reason whatsoever, and all of a sudden it's destroyed, and they don't know what to do because they put all their faith in this item rather than where the magic comes from, where the faith comes from, which is within inside you. That's where the protection is. That's where your strength comes from. Those items are just salt and pepper on your dish. You still need the food. It just makes it taste better. That's all it is.
And that's a great place to end off. The real magic is inside of you. So have the faith in yourself. So, well, Vanessa's laughing, but no, I like that. It's a great way to end off the whole show.
No, I did my South Side thing. Yeah.
Oh, I
went straight up gangsta on you.
Oh, okay, I missed it. Well, you're kind of in a small little window. I mean, I've got you in like a little 1.5 by 1.5 square here on my screen, so.
And also, before we go, let everybody know to go to Paranormal Endeavors.
Yeah, absolutely. Plug away. Tell everybody where they can find you.
ParanormalEndeavors.com website. Yeah. We need to do some updating on that, I know. Facebook is more of when we have clips and stuff. Facebook is usually where it goes through first. So I'm going to kind of stay up to date and see latest clips. I know the other day we had our first clip from Chapter 6. which is our newest chapter that's in production right now. Just so people know, chapters kind of like seasons. We call them chapters though, because it's like the close of a chapter and beginning of a new chapter. It's more poetic. And so they're usually about 8 to 10 episodes, about an hour each. And so that clip, catch it if you haven't seen it yet, follow our page, because it's about kind of my house in that one. As there's a lady of the house that lives here, as we call her. Very, very nice. No need to get rid of her. She's she's definitely, if you want a spiritual roommate, you know, that's in spirit form, she's the one to have. You know.
And also, you can purchase our DVDs from the websites as well. Because we do not charge people, we do this just to help. We are a non-profit. The DVDs help us buy equipment, put gas in the cars, educate people and help these people and do what we do. Because, you know, we're not all rich, we're not famous.
Right.
You know, we're doing what we can as we can. I'm a disabled man that, you know, I live on very little money, but I'm out there helping people day in and day out as much as I can. And so we don't charge for it. We just do it. And so that helps fund us to do more and get better equipment and give you better evidence and better education. So.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I really want to thank you guys for coming on the show tonight, and it was fantastic. You guys covered a lot of different information, so many different topics. It was fantastic. So I want to give some quick shout outs here. We'll go to the chat room real quick. Of course, Shana, our chat Shananigator, and there's everybody. Eric has been in the chat as well. Thanks, Eric. And of course, there's Vanessa now. Super Woody Boy, thank you as always. You had a couple questions tonight. Lily 2B, thank you for being there. Adam Tillery, hey, he's all right.
Adam.
If he was in there earlier, I didn't see him. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, Adam. Tina the Best, thank you. Andrew Cox, thanks for your questions and being here as always. Tanya Heitzman, thank you. Nellie Moen. Hope I didn't butcher that. Thanks for stopping by. BPI, Gwen, thank you as always. Deborah Olette, I see that she already left, but I want to give her a little shout out. Donna Bucksbaum, thank you. What's that, Vanessa?
I forget Charmy Vapes and shit.
I'm getting up there. She's up there. I would just say it right now, Charmy Vapes and shit. Lenora Martinez, thank you again for coming on out. Zippy Davis, Zippy commented on one of the videos today, came over from Noreen's channel. Thank you, Zippy, for making it out to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. Lynn's White, thank you as always. Dodie Clark, thank you. I did get a message from Donna Gorton. She wasn't able to connect to the chat tonight for some reason, so she wasn't in the chat, but she was watching. Robert White, our friend from Australia, thank you as always.
Right on.
Yeah. And let's see, I already got Andrew, Tina, and I guess I'll just end it there. And if I missed you, not personal, it's just, you know, there's a lot of people in the chat. So we're going to wrap it up again. Thank you, Eric, Jerrett, and Jackie, and of course Vanessa, my co-host, and of course Shana, our chat Shananigator. That'll do it for tonight. Thanks everybody, and Ghosty, Ghosty thanks you too. Good night.